And welcome to another episode of In the Lab. I'm Dylan, your host, and with me again, as always, is the nefarious geneticist, Shadowmeld. How you doing, Shadowmeld?
Good, as usual.
So we're looking at two interesting teams. We've got on our left side your team of the week, which is Good Synergy. Thanks for this preview on this. So looking at it on our right side, we have James joining us today. He's playing the Justice League Road Trip. I think that's more everybody's hopping in the Batmobile and taking a ride to come beat Patrick in the face this turn. But we'll see what happens. If you want to go ahead, Patrick, and start, we'll start breaking down the team.
Sure.
So looking at it, I know you've got what looks to be a variety of energy types here: mask, fist, shield, as well as the Priz spray. What's the major crux of this? What are you going for?
I'm hoping to either get a unicorn or a halfling on the first turn, so I really want masks. Since I didn't get any, I'm just going to reroll everything. And if I get a whole bunch of sidekicks, well, that's fine. Or I get 4 energy and can't really do anything with it, so we're going to buy an Ant-Man, because that's a good character.
Right, this Ant-Man is actually the uncommon. Ant-Man gets the +2 attack while attacking, global pay of fist, switch the attack and defense values of one of your characters. So again, what are you going for overall with this team? I know that was your first purchase, but the direction.
So the plan is to get a whole bunch of good characters, buff them all up with the unicorn and experience and things like that. And the good characters will allow me to get cheap treants, which is basically more good characters. And then I can attack with my big giant wall of defensive characters. And whoever he lets through, I can flip their stats and crash in for a ton. So I'm done. And let's see what he's going to purchase. I'm willing to bet his priority is going to be that Aquaman.
Yeah, again, this is what we're looking at here is the promo Aquaman, but this is the same as the common. While Aquaman is active, Justice League characters cost 1 less to buy. And on his team, he's got just a handful here. Batman being Justice League with the retaliation. While Batman is active, whenever you field a different Justice League character, gain 1 life. Wonder Woman, common. While Wonder Woman is active, other characters of Justice League affiliation cost 1 less. So, I mean, overall, we're looking at a really cohesive and even, I would dare to say, synergistic approach to the Justice League. But we'll see what happens here, what he's going to purchase. Did get enough energy here to purchase the Aquaman. We're not looking at any ramp this game, so that's definitely going to be an interesting pace to really put it at, because a lot of your characters, at least on his side, are a little more expensive, but that Aquaman, I guess, is going to reduce that. And early game, you said you wanted those mask characters, so like the Halfling Thief and even Mr. Fantastic, or would you purchase a Mr. Fantastic?
I would prefer Halfling Thief and Unicorn. I would buy Mr. Fantastic, sure. He's great on this team. But I would prefer to buy only good characters. For example, right now I bought the Ant-Man, but I'm hoping he comes up double fist, so I can maybe make a 5-cost purchase and get a 5-cost good character up and running. Or use him for, maybe buying a Unicorn and fielding Sidekick or something like that.
Yeah, this unicorn is the rare unicorn. While active, your other good characters get the +2 attack, +2 defense. And looking at your character set here, good characters fall under that subgenre in D&D with the Halo. So we have Copper Dragon that falls under that, the Tree Ant, the Minsk and Boo, as well as even your Halfling Thief. So they're all really going to get a ton of buffing off that unicorn.
Yeah, exactly. I just got a ton of masks. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to save these 2 because that'll give me, at the very least, it'll give me a halfling. And I'm going to reroll and try to get some sidekicks, because in a game with no ramp, the person who fields the most sidekicks is the one who can end up getting faster kill times, because you're going to get the dice you want faster and you're going to get them in the field faster. And so I'm going to go ahead and buy 2 halflings so that I can thin my bag. It seems weird that I'm filling my bag so that I can thin my bag, but I'm getting 2 halflings because their ability allows me to thin my bag of sidekicks and get higher purchases going. So they have a little bit of churn ability going on.
So he did buy the Aquaman, so potentially all his Justice League, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. Even Aquaman himself is reduced in cost. He's going to go ahead and get those sidekicks. Now the question is, does he keep them like you were talking about, or go ahead and purchase, or go for another purchase? I mean, at this point, There's not much he can use the energy for if he did keep those two, though.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. He got his Aquaman. He could buy a Batmobile or a Zatanna right now. Get that sidekick out, and like I was saying, he who fields the sidekicks rules the world.
Right, this Zatanna is going to be one fielded draw die from your bag and add it to your prep. So that looks like the momentum building that he's brought to the table. So we'll see how that plays out with his draws and his rolls. So this turn, you are going to get the Halfling Thief potentially. You got 2 chances at that. And this again is a ability that when fielded, and it must be the burst side. When fielded, draw die. If it's an NPC, place it in your use pile. If not, roll it.
With that in mind, I will go ahead and do that. And that's interesting. So I rolled the Ant-Man. He came up level 1 again. It's a character face. And so I am going to just use these 2 here to buy another Halfling Thief. Just try to fill up my bag with some nice, yummy, double energy characters. Then he has no energy, so I'm just going to go ahead and attack with the Ant-Man. See if he's willing to take 2 or if he wants to prep for both of us. Yeah,
looks like he's going to prep. So potentially he could, with that Aquaman, buy a 5 cost next turn if he fields the Aquaman on a level 1. So I mean that's a good move probably for him on this turn, and for you as well. I mean the motive on that was, I'm guessing, just so you can try and roll Ant-Man to either get energy or higher face, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The level 1 Ant-Man is great as a just attack with him character. So I don't need him for anything more than that.
All right, looks like he did get that Zatanna, so he will be prepping a die. And he has a sidekick. In this instance, I think you do save that sidekick. I think that's probably the best move, and it does look like he's going to go ahead and do that. With the 3 energy left, you can buy Batman or the Batmobile, and this is the Batmobile that we're looking at as the Rainbow Draft Weekend promo, which states, I know it's a little hard to read there, but you may purchase or field a die with Batman in its name or subtitle, and then the double burst is going to read Batman or Robin instead, so that reduces the purchase cost. So really the synergy on that is that it's allowing him to not only reduce the cost on Aquaman, or Aquaman reducing the cost on Batman, but now he has a way to reduce the cost on Robin, who is not a Justice League character.
Yeah, it's like the only economy there is in the game for Robin. And Robin actually can be really powerful on a Batman team. So
yeah, this Robin is the uncommon. Robin is unblockable when your Batman is active. So we're really going to probably have to see Batman in the next couple turns be purchased if he's going to probably go that route. But, so you've got a lot of energy there. What's your take? What are you going to go for?
Well, like I said, I want more sidekicks, and these bolts don't help me do anything. So I'm going to reroll all the bolts and determine how many sidekicks I get out of that. I will, at the very least, probably get 1 energy, so I can minimum buy a unicorn. If I get more energy than that, hopefully I'll get a shield, and I can buy Copper Dragon or a Treant. If not, I have a fist, and I can buy Menskin Boo. So I'm hoping for, like, 2 sidekicks. If all else fails and I get 3 sidekicks, not a problem. I buy another Halfling Thief or Mr. Fantastic or something. But that's what I'm hoping for. And look, I got a shield. What I'll do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we'll do 5, and we'll go ahead and buy ourselves a Copper Dragon because it looks like that he's got some low cost characters only at the moment, or low defense characters at the moment, and the Copper Dragon, basically every time he kills something with his breath weapon, he draws a die and preps it from the use pile. So it's a pretty awesome effect given what my opponent has already purchased.
Right, and it looks like it is specifically an NPC or sidekick die from your use pile to the prep.
Yeah,
so
he's like
a good way to help thin your, essentially, not a resurrection, but something similar to that.
PXG.
PXG, and yeah, a mini PXG.
Right, exactly. All right, and then I'm going to just keep this mask, and I'm going to let you go ahead, James.
So we should see Aquaman on this turn with only 4 dice left in the bag. So he's going to have a five die roll. If he rolls the Aquaman, he can then purchase depending on what face it comes up. Yeah, it looks like, okay, so he's definitely going to have options, zero cost fielding, 3/4, with 1 energy left there and 3 sidekicks. And he got all energy. This is perfect for him. 2 wilds and a mask and a bolt. I think we're going to see probably here a Batman, if I had to guess.
I would assume so, since it's a Batman team, but
Right.
he may wait on that because he's got a Batmobile coming around.
That's true, and the Batmobile will reduce it even further than Aquaman. So, based off that, we'll see what he pulls here. Looks like he grabbed a flash, so that's going to cost him 3 energy to purchase, and so he'll have 1 energy left in his reserve. This is the uncommon. If you played a basic action this turn, the flash is unblockable while attacking alone. So basic action, let's go over that real quick, what he's got. He's got teamwork. Each of your fielded characters gains +1 attack, +1 defense for each other of your fielded characters. And assembled, search your bag for character die and field it at level 1 for free. Teamwork, repeat this effect on another affiliated character. Again, with the synergy that he has with the jail team, he should be fine with that. So he's attacking with the 1/1 Zatanna. Are you going to let that through or block it?
I think I'm going to let it through because it'll take longer to come back around, and 1 damage is worth him waiting to prep a die. So I'm just going to take 1, and then my mask is going to go to waste.
Now, you have pretty much everything in terms of your ramping components with Halfling Thief and even an Ant-Man to help get you the low fist cost. You did buy the Copper Dragon, but what would be the next immediate purchase for you?
Unicorn, I really want to get that unicorn up and running.
Okay.
But I didn't roll any masks, so we'll re-roll and hope for 4 sidekicks. Or a mask. Any single mask would have been helpful. Oh, this game. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and buy a Stealth Ops.
All right.
And I'm going to keep the shield. I don't think there's a way he can do damage to me with the Treant Global Good Stop, but just in case. And I'll buy a Stealth Ops just so if I need to later I can punch in for some damage.
So Stealth Ops reads, target character die is considered to be at level 1 and is unblockable this turn. Global pay mask, spin target character die down 1 level. Now, looking at your team, like you said, you've got a couple potential beat sticks with the inverting with Ant-Man. So is that kind of the play there?
Yeah, so like when it comes to level 1 characters, there are a lot of strong defense level 1 characters, but there aren't a lot of strong attack level 1 characters. So by combining Stealth Ops with Ant-Man, you can get things like Treant and Copper Dragon in to do 5 or 6 damage unblockable. And that's at the cost of 1 action die and 1 fist. And that's pretty solid. And the fact that Copper Dragon can ramp because he attacks, the fact that Treant brings a global that's, usually as good as the human paladin global, and actually has the advantage of basically I pay a shield to stop your power bolt, just straight out, power bolt, which human paladin can't do. It's a good synergy of team characters, and the fact that the unicorn gives them all +2/+2 makes it for an unblockable 7 or 8 damage with a very minimal combination of cards. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I think coming from the D&D set, it's the only set that's going to have labeled good characters, but I think it's a very unique card in that it's one of the few cards we have in this game and Dice Masters overall that gives such an immediate pump like that, getting +2/+2. I know there's a lot of characters that give you the +1/+1 for similar characters, be it based off energy or affiliation, but the Unicorn seems to be in a league of his own a little bit there, as well as he's not too shabby of a die. I know he's not too tough on his first levels, but being able to hit with a 4/4 for 1, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, he's basically a 3-cost die, and because his ability is so good, he costs 4 to purchase, and I'll tell you what, it's worth it every time because of how much extra. Like, if you just think about, for that extra 1 that you're purchasing, you get an extra 2 points of damage for every character you have on the board. So if I had all 3 of my halflings on there, that extra point of purchase cost gave me +6 damage, you know?
Right.
And it looks like he bought a teamwork this turn and a flash. Yeah, and a flash.
All right. So again, that teamwork is going to help synergize with his Justice League characters, and once he gets his field filled up with them, he'll essentially have the same thing your unicorn does, but just as a single turn action versus inherent while active ability. That's a great roll there, minus the fielding cost, I guess. But
Yeah, I think I'm going to reroll the Ant-Man and hope for some energy. And I will field all 3 of these guys.
Now, I know we were talking about a couple characters that really have the capability of XP. In a game like this where you don't really have that as an option, what do you depend more on then at that point, since that's not going to be, they're really just there as they are at face value, so you're relying on them mostly just for their ability at that point, correct?
No, well, yes and no. When I get the unicorn out, these guys are 3/3s, 4/4s, 5/5s.
That's right. Okay.
That I paid 2 for, you know, and they're masks if my opponent brought PXG, and they're good. I could equip them if I brought equipment, and yeah, they have an ability that gives me a minor economic advantage. Oh, speaking of which, I forgot to do that, and I did it just now. And yeah, so they gave me a minor economic ability. It allows me to, you know, micro red tornado, draw a sidekick, put it in used.
Right, right. He did roll a flash, I believe, at the level 2 side. That flash, though, has to be, or is reliant mostly on action dice being played, so more likely we're not going to see an attack this turn. Probably waiting for that teamwork to come around again. Is there anything that you're really, anticipating on his team that might cause you issues, or anything that you need to basically prep for?
If and when he buys a cyborg, I might be in trouble. Until then, I know he's looking, from what he's purchased so far, he's looking to combo teamwork with Flash and get Flash, +1 for Zatanna, +1 for Aquaman, +1 for, I guess that's it for now. But so give Flash +2 for attacking. And unblockable 5/5 with a +2 attack is a problem, right? An unblockable 7/7 is a problem. Or in this case, it'll be a 6/6 or what have you. I'm hoping to do something similar. So we'll just see who goes faster is basically what it's going to happen.
Right, and really also you're heavily relying on that unicorn eventually coming up, which potentially next turn. That's what I know you're going to go for. But you do have the option next turn as well for that copper dragon, since he's sitting there at the top of the bag. At this point, would you want to field the copper dragon if you do end up pulling him and rolling him, or would you are you looking more for his energy at this point, since it's a little early to kind of rely on that effect?
I'm looking for a face on him. He can get me some ramp going and give me some options, and I can get the unicorn whenever. Getting the copper dragon on the field is a big deal for me, so we will see if I get it. Oh. Alright, I'm going to save both of these. Copper dragon only has a 2 fielding cost, so I can save this sidekick. I might not be able to breath weapon this turn if I get like a level 3 dragon, but or I could just miss completely.
Yeah, where's Parallax when you need it?
Yeah, exactly. And with what I have here, I am going to just get another halfling in rotation, I guess. And yeah, so I'm just going to get another halfling in rotation and hope that dragon comes around sooner than later.
You wouldn't want to go ahead and swing in here to try and get those guys off the field, or what's your...
No, I do not want to swing in here to get those guys off the field, but I do have a plan.
Okay.
Go ahead, James.
Ooh, who am I to question the nefarious geneticist?
I do see your point. It would be a good idea to get some halflings prepped so I can
exactly.
guarantee purchasing a unicorn. I completely understand that. The question is does he roll teamwork this turn or not?
Right. It looks like he did, so that flash is going to be a 5/5 to start with that.
That there's not much I can do about.
Nope. With that 3 energy left, he still has a bunch of options in terms of purchases. He could buy that cyborg, he could buy the Wonder Woman, and it looks like he did buy the cyborg. Okay, so yeah, what you were talking about earlier, he's doing it.
So, James, before you attack, I'm going to go ahead and make Aquaman attack as well.
All right, he's using the Mr. Fantastic Global there. Pay a mass, target character must attack this turn.
Correct.
Which then again negates the Flash's when he attacks a lone ability. So
right. So now the Flash and Aquaman are both blockable because the Flash is not attacking alone. Now, both characters do get +1 attack and +1 defense from teamwork. So we're talking a 4/5 Aquaman and a 5/5 Flash. But I can always do things like chump block the Flash and double block the Aquaman. So that no matter what, I get one halfling prepped and a sidekick prepped. So I'll probably be able to make the purchase. And I will still have 2 blockers left after that.
Right. Well, technically he could deal... No, yeah, you're right. He has to deal the full amount with that 4 attack value. So that's going to kill at least one of the halfling thieves. So you will probably get guaranteed, to get that unicorn next turn if that rolls that way. That or at least in your bag. Let's see what he decides.
I assume you're going to kill the level 3 halfling, or... Okay.
Yep, so the 3/3's gone.
And I think it's my turn. And teamwork... Yeah, and teamwork goes to the use pile. Alright. Now, he does have a Batmobile coming back around, but that's not a basic action, so Flash isn't unblockable for probably another 2 more turns at least. So I don't quite have to worry about it just yet. And I absolutely love this roll.
It's getting all the things you actually want to get out on the field now, so it's great.
I want to keep the double fist, I need the mask, I get the question mark, I want this sidekick. The only thing that can bite me right now is if this sidekick rolls another sidekick, I won't be able to buy my unicorn. But I could always buy Mr. Fantastic or an Ant-Man. I'm going to give it a shot.
You called it, sir. You called it.
Why do I do these things?
So, fielding that, I mean, you are going to get to roll a die potentially next, so that's still beneficial.
I think rather than fielding this, I got 2 sidekicks, which is the same as getting one of these halflings because they're all 1/1s. So it's the net same value. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy the unicorn and not field the halfling. I don't get the churn ability, but I actually get the unicorn. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. Anyway, so.
Do you go ahead and attack at this turn, or do you?
No, at this point, I just need to maintain my wall until I can get some of my larger characters on the field.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's something that, about last turn when I paid for the Mr. Fantastic Global, something that is like old AVX strategy is the force attack globals are essentially a ramp global because you can force the character you can block to kill the characters you want to kill so that you can ramp them, right? It forces them to your prep area. At the cost of a mask, I was able to prep 1 die.
Right, and also at a point in time when this game was without Professor X, that was a great way to fill your opponent's bag with sidekicks. Anything you could just clog his bag up with, you were willing to soak the damage for. That was a key strategy, I know, as well, but definitely a unique card to that set, especially with him and Phoenix being the only 2 that we have in the game right now that actually have that ability for the force attack beyond some specific card abilities. Those are the only two globals we get, so that's definitely good to see it being used still. I know the first tournaments we've had, the first tournaments when AVX came out, that was big on those teams. Was Mr. Fantastic? I think was a key part of a lot of them. So
Absolutely. There is that new basic action that just came out that forces all characters of a particular energy type to attack. That's pretty interesting, but it's better than that. They don't do any damage, and if they're unblocked, they go back to the field. So it
but
forces.
it's a basic action.
It is a basic action. It's
Okay. Yeah.
it's I choose you or something like that. I think,
Mm-hmm.
or you've been chosen. That might be that one. I forget. I don't know all their names yet. I haven't played with all of them. I haven't built teams for all of them yet. Um,
So we did get the Aquaman and purchased two Zatannas that turn. So he's definitely got the same kind of situation as you do in terms of a mechanic to ramp. We'll see how this plays on this turn. He can't. If he attacks with the flash, it doesn't have any benefit. He ended its turn. So you're looking at a stealth op and the unicorn.
oh no! I'm going to keep this and this and this and let's roll stealth ops.
Is there a benefit? I mean, you get the three
No,
through. But,
there's really not a benefit to rolling
yeah.
stealth ops. Actually, there's not a benefit to not rolling it though.
Well, who would you send through if you did roll it?
I could send through a halfling and it would do 3 damage. I'm going to spend. No reason not to spend this shield to do that. Because again, he has no direct damage abilities to cause me to need the Treant Global. And then I think I'm just going to sit on this energy here. And yeah, I'm just going to have to be good with it for now. And I will pass to you, sir.
So I know this team. You've got a couple combos. We've already discussed the switching of the defense attack, but I'm also looking at it. You've got the prismatic spray. Looks like the uncommon here. Greater spell. All characters are treated as if they had a +1 attack, +1 defense until the end of turn, and fielding costs remain unchanged.
Correct.
So that's comboing, I'm guessing, with that dragon then, right? That's the idea behind that?
Yeah, so if I make everything a 1 attack, and then I attack with the dragon and I kill everything on your side of the field, not only do I prep that many sidekicks equal to however many guys I killed, but my guys are now swinging through unblocked, and if I, say, made my guys immune to prismatic spray before I played it, then now my guys have full stats, your guys are 1/1s, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I think that's something that we need to probably look at more often is using that prismatic spray. I know a lot of us consider the go-to being the 4-cost common that allows you to blank your opponent's character's text. But this one, I think, combos so well with so many cards that deal that direct damage. You've got all the breath weapon characters. You've got Hulk. You've got multiples that do just either single damage or single direct damage. Even having magic missile on your team becomes increasingly more effective if you can play that. It does hurt you in that sense as well, because your characters do become 1/1s, but the way you have this matchup set or your team set, it really is more in your favor rather than your opponent, because you don't give them that option to target your characters prior to the dragon ability.
So James, I force Aquaman to attack on your turn with the Mr. Fantastic Global, and I block with this 4/4 halfling.
So, yeah, your thought process on that, you're removing his economy, was that the main goal?
Yeah, absolutely. Removing his economy, but also at the same time just thinning his field down a little bit. When I do attack, there's just fewer things for me to attack into. There's a solid chance that I get a Copper Dragon this turn, and I might want to attack into it. And forcing him to block the Copper Dragon with his flashes is better for me, because he's not going to want to block with his Aquaman. So I'm going to force the Aquaman to attack instead.
So looking at what also on your team, some other things you've got Shockwave. This card being from the DC set, 5 cost KO all level 1 characters. Also deal 3 damage to an opposing player if burst or double burst. But the global I think is probably what you're leaning on. Global pay 1 energy. Target level 1 character is unaffected by action dice this turn. What situations are you using that in?
So right before I use Prismatic Spray, I can make my characters immune to Prismatic Spray with Shockwave.
Gotcha.
With the Shockwave Global. And so my characters have stats and your characters don't. So that's the super combo there. Now, I just missed all my characters. I had some, but I didn't want those particular characters at that exact time. So instead, I'm going to buy a 6-cost Treant for 4 because I have 2 good characters active.
Now, just thinking about that too, that Shockwave combined with your Stealth Ops, I know you're using that to effectively level down your characters so that they are part of the Prismatic Spray. Now, technically, couldn't you use that as well, Shockwave, on, say, go up against a Lantern Ring, the rare team? If you targeted one of your opponent's characters prior to them attacking, would that also affect it so that that ability would be turned off?
Exactly. It turns off Lantern Ring, so their level 1 characters can't be affected by Lantern Ring. You can also Stealth Ops and then Shockwave Global to make your guy, your unblockable attacker, immune to Millennium Puzzle.
Right.
Before your opponent has a chance to use the Millennium Puzzle.
So those are all things just to take in consideration when you're playing this team and how you can manipulate what it's there for. So you did buy the Treant there. With the 3 energy left, what's your route?
I think I'm going to save these and try and clear out his board with all these masks.
Gotcha.
We'll see if it works. We'll see if it doesn't.
Yeah, he'll be rolling the Aquaman next turn, so we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll pass. I could buy more things, but like I already have things I want in my bag. I was thinking about buying a Stealth Ops, but maybe I'll just wait a little bit and see.
Right, you have thinned your bag a little bit with those 2 sidekicks out, and potentially 2 more of those Halfling Thieves on this next turn, or 1 more on this next turn coming out will help you get a little more economy out of that bag. But he did roll the Zatanna and the Aquaman, so he's going to get a prep a die as well as reduced cost with the sidekick and 3 energy. Now, do you think he re-rolls that teamwork, or do you think he's going to probably keep it?
He tried. He missed, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, because he definitely wanted to get the flash through, but
right.
But I would have just forced Aquaman to attack again, or what have you. So
he's going to go and field that. So now all his JL characters are reduced in cost. Going to go ahead and prep a die with the Zatanna there, leaving him 3 choices for him because he only has masks left.
Well, he's got a shield.
Or he's got a shield. He could, it depends on the energy he decides to use.
He could buy a Wonder Woman and a Zatanna if he really wanted to.
Well, he doesn't have any more Zatannas. He already purchased all.
Oh, yep.
But he could buy a, I guess it's just Wonder Woman or even an action die if he needs this turn.
He could also just buy Batman and save a mask and start punishing me with my own global.
That's true.
Well, I'm sorry, he had to field Zatanna. I missed that. So yeah, he had to use the mask to field Zatanna, so now he could just buy Batman.
Right.
Or Wonder Woman or Aquaman. Or Robin, even. He's got a lot of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. I'm proud. I love S.H.I.E.L.D. teams. They're so good.
With that Wonder Woman, again, this is the one that reduces cost of fielding, so he did go ahead and purchase that, leaving him with 1 mask in his prep, or in his reserve pool. Let's see who he decides to attack with here. Or actually, he's got to pass you priority first, so at that point...
I'm going to make Aquaman attack, and you know what? Let's get these flash off the board. No, yeah, let's get these flash off the board. So I make 1 Aquaman attack, and I make one of the 4 cost flashes attack, or the 4 attack flash attack. Ugh, too many words. So yeah, those 2.
That last mask, is that all you're just gonna do the 2?
Yeah, I was going to use it, but
Would it be privileged? I mean, with like we were talking about ramp being kind of in demand here, would it help to possibly let the either the Zatanna through or even the sidekick through at this point?
it would be a good idea to let the sidekick through because it would fill up my opponent's bag, and at the cost of one life, that's really good. And I probably should do that with this last mask. Actually, yeah. So I'll go ahead and do that. Good call, Dylan. I'm going to make one of your sidekicks attack as well, James. 2 mines. We're such an advantage. It's such an unfair game. I feel sorry for James.
Well, I mean, the bigger thing here is we're just talking strategy. I mean,
Yeah,
this is
no,
just
I
a
know.
fun game. So I think, when you do look at these teams, you have to think consciously about what you've brought and what your opponent's brought, and how you can maximize them not getting what they need. And by letting things like sidekicks go through their bag and adding to that pile of 4 die that they have to pull out every turn, that's really going to give you the advantage rather than them most of the time. So.
Yeah.
Um, so you're going to go ahead and knock out the Flash because your character is a 2/2, your halfling, as well as you're going to knock out the Aquaman and the Zatanna. So it looks like you clear the board pretty well there.
Yep, and I will take 1 damage, and that sidekick goes to the use pile. Absolutely. I made the wrong block there. I should not have killed the Zatanna. I should have blocked it with my sidekick. And that was what I was planning to do, but I lost track of my thought train. So, oh well.
The upside on the trade there is that you did get a halfling thief that potentially is going to do exactly the same thing as Zatanna does, hopefully, in terms of clearing out the bag a little bit.
Exactly, exactly. If you look at my used pile, which is where I'll be drawing a die from, I have more than half of the things in my used pile are not sidekicks, so I'll be rolling something more than likely. And I field a burst halfling. If I field a burst halfling, the question is, do I want to re-roll this sidekick for energy? I don't want to re-roll the sidekick for energy. I do want to re-roll this halfling for either like a higher level or more masks. So we'll see. All right. Because while I don't mind having the level 1 halfling who's a 3/3, I don't want to pay 1 energy for that. If you know what I mean. Like,
Right, now you get the actual option to potentially Mr. Fantastic again and clear his board a little bit
or
more. So,
or field whatever I just drew. Right.
right.
I needed the
Right.
energy to field what I drew, but I didn't draw anything. So, but yes, now I have 2 masks to Mr. Fantastic some stuff. And I'll pass to you, James. Right now, I'm kind of just in this holding pattern where I'm waiting for my characters to come back around, and I'm trying to maintain this wall. So I'm attacking with a 4/4 unicorn, apparently.
So he did go ahead and kind of use that global against you. Just like, as always, globals are a helpful instrument, but also a detriment because you do give your opponent that opportunity to do it as well.
Now, I don't like the fact that I'm going to lose this trade, so I'm going to spend his flash down using the stealth ops global so that we'll kill each other. And at the very least, I'm losing my unicorn for him to lose all of his characters.
Right, and then again, he has to pay to fill that flash, and that flash is
Not cheap.
not cheap at all. We're looking at I believe it's a 1/2 and 2 again for that last face there.
Meanwhile, the unicorn is a 0/0/1.
Right.
So if I get a character face, I'm happy. So we'll see how it goes. It's now James's turn because combat's over. He has a ton of dice that he's rolling this turn. But fortunately for me, his team doesn't have huge bombs that he can purchase to punish me for when I kill all of his characters. He's not bringing the Superman today to punish me.
Right, it doesn't look like he has a way, immediately at least, to get through unless he buys that stealth ops. So he did get the Batmobile, the vehicle transporting the Justice League this time. So we more than likely will see a Batman. It is on a single burst. The double burst side would have been necessary in order to reduce the cost of Robin. But he did get a slew of characters, so it looks like he's in good shape in terms of getting his own wall up again. Let's see, he's going to reroll the other Flash and the Zatanna.
He realized he should save some energy for his fielding, and he's going to give it a shot and maybe get a sidekick. Or
Well, he got the Flash out, so that's at least part of it. with that, again, he's going to have the Aquaman reducing cost, 2 flashes on the field, a cyborg. Let's see, cost if he can do it all. Let's see, 3, 4. So that would cost him all his energy this turn in order to field everything.
Right, and the Batmobile is thus not usable. He can't buy a Batman with it, and it doesn't trigger Flash's ability. So.
Right, yeah, I think at this point he probably just wants to field everything on it, just as...
Well, he may let one of the Flashes go to the use pile. Like the level 2 Flash is really expensive for what he does,
Right.
which is 4. So he may let that one go so that he can still have 2 energy. And the Batman reduces cost by what, 2?
2. So he technically gets that reduction and then an additional reduction because of Aquaman.
Right, so he could still technically field the 1 cost Flash if he wanted to because of the Aquaman and Batmobile reduction.
Looks like, though, he's going to buy the Batman, but that technically, I think he overspent on it there. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to go ahead and field that Flash, because, again, that's going to be Batman reduction of 2 plus 1 from Aquaman, 3, making Batman cost 2. So that should leave him enough there.
Yep. It's a pretty solid field he ended up with this turn.
Right, right.
I have sidekicks to block what I need to, but we'll see if he decides to attack with anything.
Yeah, and again, this cyborg, he actually comes with the retaliation feature, so if you do knock it out, you will feel the damage off that, because he does have 2 other Justice League characters. Cyborg has to remain on the field in order for retaliation to be effective, but still something moving forward that's going to be slow burn, I think, that he's going to try to put into place here.
Yep.
So yeah, this is going to be... Oh.
He's just trying to decide if he wants to attack with that level 1 cyborg.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, there's no real advantage to that, because you can just either... You're not going to let it through, but at the same time, you're just going to jump block. So
yeah, I mean, I could block with just a sidekick.
Yeah.
It does clear a sidekick off my board, but...
It is, yeah.
But we'll see.
So the Treant this turn is going to...
Treant this turn will be interesting. I don't think I'm going to Stealth Ops this turn, and I really want the fielding costs, so I'm going to keep that. As much as I want to keep that sidekick, I kind of need the fielding cost. I need the energy for fielding, so I'm going to re-roll him and see if I can... Yeah, but actually, before I field, I'm going to field this guy with this bolt.
Now, you didn't want to reroll there for the unicorn at this point?
I already did.
Oh, you did. Gotcha.
Man, these halflings love thinning my bag. Man, I wish I had the unicorn, let me tell you.
So now you've got a pretty effective wall there. Potentially with that unicorn coming out, it's going to be devastating.
And at this point, I'm going to pass priority. I can wait it out at the moment. Everything, like my Treant is big enough that he can block and eat most things. So, yeah. So I'm going to end my turn and let James go.
Yeah, I don't know why when you said that, the first thing I thought of was Charlie Brown's his kite getting eaten, and essentially all of his sidekicks are little kites that your tree can swallow.
Yar.
So we did get the Flash this turn. Let's see if he's going to be able to roll it. And it looks like it's energy for at least the first part here with a sidekick. At this point, I know you've got a pretty massive wall there that's soon to be, hopefully even more massive with that unicorn coming on in the next 2 turns.
Maybe a little longer than that.
Maybe a little longer than that. Depends, yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't know. It's going to the use pile along with everything else, so maybe I'll draw it next turn because I just get lucky that way.
Right. So you're going to force attack. Are you going to go ahead and try and remove one of your halfling thieves, or how would you go about this?
No, if I'm going to force attack, I'm going to force attack Cyborg. And by doing that, I need to block with the Treant and kill Cyborg. Because if I force attack with anything else, I'll take retaliation damage. So it's just the smarter play to force attack Cyborg.
Oh no,
And
yeah, no, I meant cyborg, but I just meant in terms of blocking with halfling thief rather than treant to make sure that you won't be able to kill the cyborg unless you double block. But if he decides to, you then get two characters to potentially ramp next turn again. So I don't know,
I
just wondering.
ramp for me is actually getting the things on the field. At this
Mhm.
point, I've bought everything I really need to buy.
Okay,
I just need to wait until I get it all on the board, and then I can go win with it. And the good news for me is this treant is so big that Cyborg can't kill him.
so he's gonna go ahead and attack with that. You're blocking with the treant there. He's gonna lose
Yeah,
his
and
cyborg there.
he ramps his Cyborg, and now we get to find out what I draw.
All right.
Oh my goodness! I actually drew the unicorn. And I roll everything I don't want. And then I roll the things I do want.
That's pretty close to perfect there. Enough at least to field everything you need. You're not going to be able to breath weapon this turn,
Correct.
but that
But
dragon though is a 6/10 right now though. So
the dragon is a 6/10, the treant is a 6/9, the halflings are all 4/4s, and the sidekicks are all 1/1s. If I swing in, he's gonna block 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm gonna get in 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage, which puts him at 11. But I lose my unicorn, and while I still have a solid board state left over, I'm willing to wait until next turn and hope I get a good amount of energy to attack with.
well, my question to you then is why attack? Would you not just want to attack with your good characters other than unicorn?
I could do that, but then I'm only getting through for maybe 7 damage.
Right.
Then I'd lose all my sidekicks, my bag would get clogged. So even if I just attacked with every other character, it would be 4 damage because one halfling thief would get through. And I'd give him a ton of ramp, which is nice, but at this point, by waiting one turn, I might be able to just go lethal.
Right, with the breath weapon ability to knock out what you need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
And plus, all my guys do have a significant fielding cost, except for the unicorn. So it's worth it to me to not, let them get killed. I'm going to go ahead and pass to James. I may be being too cautious, but
Yeah, I was going to say that might be if you threw all your halfling thieves at him, I think he'd be hesitant to let it through at least, and definitely he would lose his sidekicks and potentially, either Aquaman or the Flash, which then guarantees you the next turn if he doesn't roll those characters. You're getting, oh my gosh, what a roll! that is a tough roll. We're looking at all fielding cost characters there and a Batmobile.
at least that Batman fields for free from playing the Batmobile.
That's true. So he doesn't need to roll.
Right?
Yes, it does. It does reduce the cost of fielding as well as purchase. So he can keep that Batman and still field it, but then he has to make a decision here on these other characters, what he's going to go for. The Wonder Woman, again, reduces fielding costs, so that's a benefit on his side.
Yeah.
Oh, so it looks like we're just going to see a Batman and a Zatanna this turn.
Yep.
He did get lucky and rolled her on his on her zero cost side, so at least he gets something out of it. He could have rolled on the one energy fielding cost side, and I guess it's just a risk you take sometimes with this, trying to get
Absolutely.
out of it. The Batmobile is going to go ahead and use that, allowing him to field Batman for free, and he's going to have to scrap the other two characters there. But he does have a really solid field state right now with Batman at level 2, a 3/3 Flash, Zatanna at a level 2 with a 2/2 attack, and Aquaman at 2/3. Yeah, I can't see him attacking this turn, but we'll see what he decides to go for. Yeah, it looks like he's going to end his turn.
Alrighty. Let's see what energy I pick up this turn. Did those roll?
Yeah, they
They
did.
did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of them's good. We'll just re-roll everything else, see what else we get. That's cool.
So with that, you did roll stealth ops, allowing one of your characters to be unblockable this turn. And again, they all the good characters, other than the unicorn, are getting a +2. So going from the top, we're looking at either a 6/9, or if you flip it, a 9/6, a 4/4 halfling, another 4/4 halfling, another 4/4 halfling, and then a 6/10 or 10/6 dragon if you use those fists.
Yeah, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and play stealth ops on my treant, which is I'm going to go ahead and level it down for now because he's now a 3/6 for the rest of the turn. And then I'm going to pass priority, and I know James doesn't have anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and declare the attack. And I'm going to put all of this out in the field. And so this guy's stealth opsed.
Now you've got the dragon there. You're going to go ahead and activate the breath weapon, or?
And yeah, as part of my declaration, I'm going to go ahead and spend this mask to activate the breath weapon, which will clear out both the sidekicks. Did I field something this turn? No, right? Okay,
No.
So this was in my use pile, so that gets prepped because I killed something.
So now he gets to declare blockers. He's going to go ahead and block that dragon with the 2/2 Zatanna. So that's going to be chump blocked. The 4/4 halfling thief. And right now you're looking again at a 5/8 treant, and if you flip, that's going to be 8 damage. That's unblockable. So everything else on top of this is going to be, yeah. So he's going to go ahead and block everything else. The halfling and the Batman will survive that one, and then the others will essentially trade. Other than not trade, I'm sorry. The 3/3 will die, and then the 2/3 Aquaman will die, but your halfling thieves will survive, as well as Zatanna there. So that was a really strong turn to really clear that field out.
Right, and that's why I said I wanted to wait for energy. It just gives me more options, makes me more of a threat. Now, I did flip the stats of the treant, so the total damage there would have been 8 damage. So from 20 to 12, yeah. And then, did you let this halfling through? Is that what I saw?
No, he blocked all 4 of them, or all 3 of them there.
Okay.
With the Aquaman.
But the Batman killed one of
them. Correct.
That's
correct.
All right, and then I still have a fist and a mask sitting back here to wreak havoc on my opponent's turn. Maybe. And I'll pass to him.
So we're looking at a game now, 18-12. You had that strong turn there, but
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention I used breath weapon that it technically does 1 damage to you, James.
Well, I'm glad I said something. 18-11. I guess that's gonna make that. So you do have the stronger hand here, but he is going to be getting a lot of characters potentially to roll this turn.
Oh yeah, and Batman would have died too because of the breath weapon.
That's right.
Totally forgot about that. So yeah, he's going to have a lot of characters, but it's also a lot of fielding costs that he's going to have to pay. And as we saw last time, fielding costs are not easy for him.
Right, that's really where that Wonder Woman comes into play, but unfortunately she's already in the used pile and wasn't able to be fielded that last turn just due to that fact that she wasn't able to get the reduction out. So he did roll the level 3 or level 2 Flash and level 1 Zatanna, and a lot of energy left there with a couple sidekicks. Looks like going to reroll most of it, besides the energy, to make sure he has that for fielding, and he also does have a teamwork. It's great. Okay, so he's got Zatanna, an Aquaman at level, I believe that is level 3. Yeah, that's level 3.
That's level 2. Oh, level 3 Aquaman, level 2 Flash.
Right. Yeah, so that's going to be Flash this turn. If attacks alone, we'll get the bump from teamwork, giving him looks like an additional 2. So he'll be 6/6, as well as the other characters will have that pump as well. But let's see if he decides to attack with just that. He does have a lot of energy left too, so he can purchase quite a bit if he needs to. Since that flash is the only thing beyond Aquaman that had a fielding cost.
He's gonna actually prep his whole bag, which
Right.
is nice.
Yeah. So have Zatanna in waiting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how he decides to spend his energy. So it's going to be fielding the flash with 3 masks left. And again, he's at that point. I think we've talked. Soaking damage is a benefit, but at this point, if he tried to use the Mr. Fantastic Global on pretty much any of your characters, I'd assume you'd probably attack full out anyways, and that would really hurt him more than anything else, I think, at this point.
Yeah, it'd be tough for him at this point. Sometimes the answer isn't to get bigger characters than your opponent, it's to go wider with your field. It appears that he is going to stealth ops one of my characters. My dragon, hold down.
Right.
Which is probably a pretty solid move. That with teamwork, now most of his characters threaten my dragon for a lethal amount of damage.
All right, so he's going to go ahead and use that. So on your turn, or on your priority, would you call someone else to attack?
Oh yeah, I'm going to absolutely... Well, it looks like he plays teamwork before he attacks, or before he passes priority, so I'm going to force Aquaman. Actually, no. I'm going to force the 2-cost Zatanna to attack, or the 2-attack Zatanna, level 2 Zatanna to attack. And she's a 4/4?
Yeah, right, yeah, she's getting... Well, no, she's, technically a 4/4, getting the bump, the +1/+1 from the Flash and Aquaman.
Right.
So Flash is 6/6, Zatanna's 4/4.
Yeah. And here I am forgetting that I still have the unicorn out. So my dragon is a 5/9, which means he can block the Flash, and I can just chump block this Zatanna.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, because this is one less character that he has to deal with, that I have to deal with next turn. Okay.
So we're looking at another solid Halfling Thief turn here, potentially. Let's see. Oh, nope, you got the level 3 Ant-Man.
He might be worth playing.
Because you're going to be able to clear that Zatanna with the Copper Dragon, leaving him only 2 blockers, with 11 life left, and the characters you do have in play.
Right, yeah, it's a lot of damage.
Right.
I'm trying to decide if I want to keep this sidekick just to make sure it's an extra damage. Yeah, I might as well. First things first, I'm going to use this mask to field this halfling and put that in the use pile. And then I'm going to use this fist to field the Ant-Man, field the sidekick, and oh, he's going to make my unicorn attack. All right.
So you're going to do that. So you're going to have a full-out attack of...
Yeah, I'm just going to swing with everything and use my breath weapon. Did I spend this fist this turn?
You did. You spent it to...
yeah, I had nothing in the use pile because I just reset my bag, right? So,
right.
Okay. All right, and so we're just going to put that up there. And then I'm going to spend 1 to breath weapon. So that's 1 damage to everything, and including James. I would prep a die, but I don't actually technically have any of my use pile. They're all out of play at the moment. And then I have this question mark in case I need to do any stat flipping for this Copper Dragon I have here.
Now, he does have a shield left, and looking at what's available, the only thing is going to be that Treant, which he does decide to use. Again, this global says pay shield, prevent the next 2 damage that you take from an ability or action die this turn.
So he could prevent the 1 damage that the breath weapon just did to him. So that's a good thing to do.
So it looks like he's going to go ahead and pay that as a reactionary, leaving him 2 blockers. He's going to go ahead and have option. Looks like the highest attacking is going to be the
2/5/5, the 5/2 Ant-Man, or I'm sorry, he's a 5/4 Ant-Man because he's attacking. And then there's the 5/9 Copper Dragon that if he doesn't block becomes a 9/5. And that still leaves 12 damage just from halflings, and then 3 sidekicks and 2 unicorns. So that's a pretty good game. Good game, sir. Good game.
Yep. That was a good game on both sides. Now, looking at your team, I know we got to see pretty much all the components of it get into play. Besides, we talked about the Prismatic Spray and Copper Dragon. What's Minsk and Boo's role on this team?
2 things. One, Minsk and Boo was requested that I make a team around him. And for me, Minsk and Boo is Deadpool Jack with slightly better stats and no automatic KO effect. Instead of an automatic KO effect, he has a delayed onset, massive beatdown win condition, right? Well, you get him out on the board, and if your opponent doesn't have a good, solid way of targeted removaling him, he can just sit on the board and get big and big and big, and then you can stealth ops him in. And a 3/3 Minsk and Boo with 4 experience is still 7 damage. Stealth ops doesn't matter, does not reduce experience, right? So stealth opsing a Minsk and Boo in is one of the strategies. And then the other option, and he's good. So if I have a unicorn on the board, he's not a 3/3, he's a 5/5, and then experience is +1 for every turn he's been out. And then when he punches your opponent in the face, that's a solid hit.
Right, then on the other portion of his card, he says, once per turn you may remove a token from Minsk and Boo to force an opposing character to block.
And that is not a global, so it's a really great way to get rid of Wasp.
Right, okay.
Or whatever problem character your opponent happens to put on the board that bugs the crap out of you. You have AoE clear with Breath Weapon and Prismatic Spray combo. You have targeted removal with Minsk and Boo. You have defensive capabilities with Treant, and you have also targeted removal with Mr. Fantastic Global. And you have some more AoE clear with Shockwave. And usually your objective is just to go as aggressive as you can, but it's not quite throw the guy on the board, attack them. You kind of want to throw all your guys on the board, and when you get the unicorn, attack with everything. And until you get the unicorn, you're kind of walling up just a little bit. But between Treant's defense and Copper Dragon's defense and Halfling Thief's churn ability, when he blocks and dies and comes back, it doesn't bother you that you're paying that fielding cost for the Halfling Thief. Because basically Halfling Thief just resurrects every time she comes into the field.
You definitely have a lot of manipulation control components in this team. It's still at the same time kind of an aggressive approach with the unicorn and all the good characters you do have on board.
Yeah, I guess it's not as much like manipulation so much as disruption, right? It's just enough tools to disrupt combos my opponent may be bringing.
Exactly. All right, well, let's go ahead and get James in here, just get a little feedback about the game.
I feel very little right now.
I think that's a natural feeling after you play Shadowmeld. It's just drained and like you feel like you're missing something, and he's just taking a little bit of your soul.
Well, I will say I have very little familiarity with the D&D set.
Right. Okay.
Although I do have quite a bit of the cards. I just a lot of my friends and I, we play with a lot of the comic book characters, and so I just picked up the DC set, the Justice League, and the War of Light. And after playing the War of Light Rainbow Draft at a local game shop, I picked up the Batmobile and the Aquaman, and so I really wanted to build a team around them. And having Wonder Woman to reduce the fielding cost of Batman, it just, I don't know. Having the Batmobile, I wanted to have Robin as well.
Yeah, I mean, just the synergy between those. I mean, that card opens up a lot of doors that at times Robin kind of closes for you because he doesn't have that Justice League affiliation when you're making a team based around that. Like if you were looking at your team retrospectively, I know you, like you said, you kind of threw some of this together. What was maybe the card or the turn that you felt like made the most difference in your purchasing? Like, was there strategy you think you should have implemented earlier, or?
I think getting more teamwork so that those would roll through my bag a little bit faster. Teamwork with the Flash, and then also actually getting more Batman with the Batmobile.
Yeah, you got to get the driver for that road trip. So
there was a turn where you could have bought Batman and you instead bought Flash, and you probably would have just been better off buying Batman.
Well, yeah, I know my hardest hitter is the Flash in this team, though, because of the teamwork.
Well, the teamwork works effectively on him, but like you saw with the strategy, again, it comes down to like what your opponent brings. You got to look at
the fact that you could
fantastic. It really just wrecked the connection you were making with the teamwork and the Flash on this team. I mean, overall, I think it's a great strategy, but it's just ways to kind of counter that.
You could have bought Stealth Ops,
right,
and used that on Flash,
right.
He would still hit for 3, or you could Stealth Ops your Cyborg, who hits for 6.
Right.
When he attacks by himself and is unblockable at level 1. He still hits for 6. And then you could put Teamwork on top of that, and then he would hit for 10.
Yeah, Teamwork overall is a fun card whenever you've got like a theme affiliation going on. It definitely can really give you that extra bump you need to make the difference in the game, but it did come down to look like a lot of it of him being able to kind of negate that Flash ability, even the Cyborg ability.
Yeah, that Mr. Fantastic really, well, not Mr. Fantastic, but the
global. Yeah.
Right, the global, and then also there was something else you kept using that seemed to just it made it so that no matter what I did, it didn't matter.
No, I think that's just the feeling you get when you play Shadow. But no, I looking at his team, he had that Copper Dragon out at the right time when he could basically nuke your field and continue to just kind of plow into it as much as he wanted. And getting the Unicorn out was the key.
Yeah, the fact that the Unicorn came back around so quick.
Right, exactly.
Was really good.
Yeah. You definitely put up a good fight here. I really appreciate you coming in on the stream on this. And
man, no, I appreciate you guys having me on. This was amazing.
So we look forward to having you back. You can find this team on this week's episode of the Reserve Pool Podcast. We'll be having a little more in-depth discussion, I guess, on that. But definitely, if you want to check out more videos, please subscribe. Go ahead and be checking out all the Dice Masters info you need at thereservepool.com. We'll see you next time here in the lab.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?